All right, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Mole Trap here, coming at you with some more StarCraft. Once again, joined by good friend Rise. Is going to be joining me for the rest of the series. What's that?
Just hey-o.
Okay. And even though this is 2022, we still have to say 3, 2, 1, go to count down the VODs, and there's a little bit of a issue with talking over Discord and talking over each other, so apologies for that. But you know what? We'll just say it's more good old times throwback to the old days when we had to Discord lag of 2 seconds and still had to try not to talk over each other and crap like that. Anyway, we're getting into game number 5 here. As you can see, Light versus Jaedong. And this is a matchup that is a great matchup in 2006. It would be a great matchup in 2010, and it would be a great matchup in 2022 because both these guys, I believe, are in the next season of ASL. So, really cool to see the kind of the origin story of both these guys, actually, because this is Jaedong's rookie year in 2006, and he was actually at the end of this season, he was voted as the rookie of the year for the second half of the Pro League season or something like that, because he was doing so well for his team. So here he is in a crucial situation for his team in the playoffs. If Lakecaf loses this game, Hero will win a 4-1 victory and advance to the final part of the playoffs. And so lots on the line here for Jaedong, but he is a strong player. Now Light, though, I'd say Light's kind of peak during the Kespa era was in 2010. He was an absolute Pro League monster in 2010, even if he didn't win anything individually. But he's still a monster in 2022. But in 2006, he hadn't quite gotten to that high enough level yet. But, you know, Jaedong isn't quite the multi-champion yet either. So it's kind of like not either of their final forms yet, but they're still both really strong players. Anyway, Light, if you're not sure, is going to be the Terran player at the top left, and Jaedong is going to be the white Zerg player at the bottom right.
Doesn't Jaedong look like a little baby? They had him on screen
a
couple of times there. And I'm like, oh, he's so cute. I want to pinch his cheeks. You know, he looks so young.
I say that a lot with a lot of these old games. I'm like, oh, look, it's little baby Light. Oh, it's little baby.
Oh, my gosh.
It's baby Stork. Stork was in the... Stork's first OSL, I think, was in 2005 or 6 or something like that. And I casted one of his games, and I was like, he's so little.
And now he's got, like, 20-year-old children, right? So
only if StarCraft counts as his child. I guess StarCraft is coming up on 24 years old.
Yeah.
StarCraft is almost old enough to rent a car in the United States.
Almost, but still has to pay the extra fee, I'm sure.
Right.
But so. You notice, like, Jaedong, I didn't notice the stereotypical angry face that you get in his later games, where I remember finding out in interviews that he specifically did get angry when he played, right? He tried to be angry. And now I'm wondering if, like, he hasn't developed that part of his personality yet, but I'm curious. I know he's going to be Rookie of the Year. We know that much information. The real question is, will Light be a stepping stone to that or not? And I got to say, like, Jaedong is scary. I mean, even now, I got to imagine his games or his play is pretty tight. So yeah. I would say he's, in my mind, likely to be the favorite here.
Yeah, I would say so. Light, in the previous matchup, he did actually lose a game to Daejong, but then he won the ace match to bring it to this set of playoffs against Free. But yeah, I feel like Jaedong, like I said, he's kind of in his ascendancy right now at this point in time, but this is the end of 2006. Actually, this game, I'm going to double check, might have been actually played technically in 2007. I don't have the date off yet. No, this is December of 2006 still. So, but this is like right before Jaedong starts really popping off in like 6 to 8 months from now when he starts winning OSLs and stuff. So, anyway, Jaedong has his expansion up here. This is the map Arcadia, by the way. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Rise. I put it up on my screen. The YouTube viewers will be able to see it. I don't know if you can see it, but basically a 4-spawn map. A ramp down into a natural, and then there's a very wide open choke point out of your natural, but there's like a half base within the choke point. where it's like 6 mineral patches but no gas. So you can kind of get 2.5 bases pretty easily. You're not going to get that third gas like Jaedong might want to get, but you can see that Jaedong is already taking that sort of 2.5, or we can call it a third base. Whereas Light is just barely floating over his first expansion right now.
I mean, it's pretty easy for the Zerg to just throw a hatchery there anyway, right? Because you're always going to have at least 3 hatcheries for most builds.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some 2-hatch builds. So even though it doesn't have the gas, managing the minerals is a little bit nicer to not have to worry about it as soon as you would if you had to go to a different base. So I think it's still good, right? 2 gases is going to get him the majority of what he wants and transition into the later game where he'll get that 3rd and ultimately 4 gases. But he's got his lair started up as well as an Evo chamber. So I'm curious. It looks like we're going to see some Hydra play here potentially. And we've got some movement out on the map, but it looks like it's mostly Overlords and SCVs. Yeah, okay. I thought the Marines were moving out to put some pressure on. It looks like that is going to be what Light opts to do now that the first medics have popped out, and make sure he's keeping Jaedong honest and likely forcing him to create a couple of sunkens here. It's a long march across this map, though. It looks like it's a pretty long walk to get there. And so Jaedong's got plenty of time. He's going to scout it here with this Ling. That was an expensive stim to take out a half-dead Ling, but it's, again, going to buy enough time for Jaedong to get some sunkens down. I guess he was running across the map here to really sprint and try to put the pressure on to force maybe an extra sunken.
Yeah, and the medic's like struggling to catch up. He's going to have the second sunk's about to pop, the third is on the way. But Light, only with like 6 or 7 Marines outside there, I don't think he's threatening to really bust or anything like that. It's not like this is an old school two barracks build where they're going to follow up with fire bats and stuff like that. So he's just like, yeah, like you said, making sure Jaedong's being honest and making some sunken colonies just for the sake of it. He is he's going to prod in there with, he did follow up with a couple more forces. So he's got the 2 medics and the 1 fire bat. I don't think it's a good idea to run in there though at this point, but look at that is a lot of hatcheries. He's got 5 hatcheries now for Jaedong, and the lair is up as well. I don't know if we've seen a spire go down yet, but this is kind of interesting. The Evo chamber that you mentioned earlier, that's interesting. Could be for Carapace to make sure that his Lings last longer against the Marines, so he might be looking to play a big ground-based army here. I'm not sure what he's going to do at this point.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be Ling lurker play, but with the Spire out, I think that's probably just for Scourge support. We do see the Hydrogen there. I miss the replays we were just doing earlier. It's nice because you can click on the buildings and see what everything's making. But he obviously has lurker tech done, so that is what we're going to see here, and that in itself is enough to force back Light, who also is building a lot of turrets there. So Light does not know fully what's going on, because if he did, I don't think he would have just dropped the number of turrets that he did. 4 turrets behind that natural mineral is a pretty hefty investment for something that's not going to do anything against the build he's facing. And Lings are out of the map, but that SCV critically is going to see 4, 5, 6, 7 lurkers. And while he's moving forward with some units, they're not going to do anything against that force.
No, he's going to have to play a little bit safer here. Now, at least he's posturing to make sure that Jaedong is slowing down his push. He has to stop, burrow, unburrow, push forward, stop, burrow. Jaedong trying to take a 4th base at the top right in the meantime, since he does have the control right now with these lurkers, and Light really doesn't have anything to do with it. But yeah, you're exactly right. Light kind of, maybe he even scanned the Spire and thought it was normal Mutalisk play. He built a bunch of turrets that were not necessary. I mean, I guess they'll help if he gets into a supply line with lurkers, but the turrets were obviously anti-Mutalisks, and so they're kind of a little bit of a waste. So now he's have to defend, but this drop is going to shut down the 4th base for Jaedong at the same time. Does Jaedong have enough to actually push in there and kill that off with the tank there? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. And he's definitely going to lose that hatchery at the top. All of his forces are so far away. And you can still see he's still moving back because there's another base there that if he doesn't move back, he's going to lose that base as well as the Marines head down to go
Wow.
deal with it.
What
But he
greed. He
is.
was trying to take 2 bases at once.
Oh yeah, man, it was the ultimate greed play, and he I thought he was going to get it until we saw the drop ship. But Light's going to be able to take out quite a few Zerglings here with just having the
Oh.
medic on the ramp, and nicely done. But that's going to be cleaned up, and now he's going to be able to retake that top right base. It looks like he's going right for it too. He's not even thinking twice about rebuilding that. And we do have a couple of Mutalisks out on the field, but I don't think they're going to accomplish too much with the number of turrets we saw earlier. And Science Vessel's out as well, means the Lurkers are no longer going to be an easy hold the line. They're going to have to back up until Defiler Tech starts heading out.
Yeah, so Light's pushing out on the map here with those 2 tanks in play. He's going to be able to deal with the Lurkers, again, kind of slowly, because just as the Lurkers have to burrow and unburrow, the tanks have to siege and unsiege to kind of push things back. Is that just a scouting Mutalisk? I think it's a scouting Mutalisk. He's just running through, seeing, okay, what's going on here? How many barracks does he have? What am I up against here? What kind of tech does he have? He does see that there's Science Vessel tech in play. He's already got the Scourge preemptively. He's going to get a free Science Vessel? No, the Scourge were not quite... they didn't realize they were going to have a target that quickly, and they were just kind of spacing out, wandering around, so they missed their chance. But Light's playing a little bit of a dangerous game here. He's moving out onto the map, but he's out on the map. He's in the open part of the map. Oh, dropship goes down with only a few units popping out, but that 4th base is threatened. He's going to be forced to pull drones, but crucially, I'm worried about the stuff in the middle. If Light gets surrounded while he's out on the middle of the map, he could lose his whole force and the game, so he's got to be very, very careful. He's got to make sure he's positioned well to have at least a ridge or a bridge at his back to defend.
Wow, and he's going to the top right here. I just heard a whole bunch of stimming, and I'm not really sure why, but he's ready to charge in and take out the very small force of Lings. And again, double stimming. And I don't see that many medics to keep that force healthy. It looks like he's got 4 or so there. And these Lurkers are going to potentially do a lot of damage here as the Lings jump on as well. But without any Dark Swarm, this force is evaporating against Light, and Light fully cleans it up, which means he's potentially going to get this base. No, it looks like we have some Lings that just popped out of that hatchery that are going to clean up at least the rest of these siege tanks, and that's going to put an end to this push. But man, that was some dangerous looking stuff for Jaedong there for a minute. It looks like he's probably making a Defiler mount now, which he is. And that's what he needs to really push this game or start pushing into Light space. Without it, he's gonna he's gonna try to maintain map control with his guerrilla forces, but he's not gonna be able to do too much beyond that until that swarm's ready.
Yeah. Now, crucially, though, Light has not really been able to expand behind this either. I don't know if he's even taken that half base or the mineral base in his area. It's hard to tell that there's not enough pixels to really tell on the minimap what's going on there. I think he has, but I'm not certain. And Jaedong, yeah, he was a little bit dicey there, but he did eventually hold off that push and finish it up in the top right. So he secures, or not secures, but he protects, at least for now, the 2 bases in the top right, because he did rebuild that top right that got canceled. We're seeing that the observers are pointing out that there's 2-1 upgrades for the Terran, and then 1-2 upgrades for the Zerg. So they're basically even on upgrades right now with the armor and the carapace and everything like that. That they're basically doing vanilla damage to each other, which is part of why we saw that early Evo chamber, so that he could get ahead of that and not lose to +1 Marines. Nice spot here, sieging up behind the 4th base. It's a really good spot there. He's not going to have a choke point to really defend, but it's a really cool spot that he doesn't have to worry about any sunken colonies or anything like that from behind.
Yeah, that's the worst. I always hated Terran going up against the ledge behind you is so hard to defend. And we do finally have the Defiler tech out with Dark Swarm. Consume is finished, so Jaedong's going to be able to start engaging this head on just in time, too, because he does not want to lose these new bases that he's got. Scourge going up against the dancing vessels. The vessels not able to escape their clutches. They go down, and now it looks like Jaedong should be able to clean this up, or at the very least deflect it back. And here's the thing, Jaedong is on and has been on 5 bases now. Although it looks like that base is mostly used for gas. This is going to be very difficult for Light to keep up with if he can't get another couple of bases up and running. I do think he might have finally gotten that base, that mineral-only base up and running, but it's hard to tell with, again, the low pixel count. And the battle here is heating up as lurkers are jumping on, but just as Dark Swarm expires, which means Light might be able to get this under control and maintain his position, but not before losing all but one tank. And I think with that, Jaedong's basically pushed this off again. And more Scourge are out on the field, taking out potentially another 1-2 Science Vessels. And that's going to be awful for Light to have to rebuild this. Those are some very gas-expensive units.
Wow. Oh, and maybe some free medics too. Oh, there's a dropship coming in here. This is a key tactic for Terrans to try and get back into games when they're behind, is you send out dropships to the Zerg's remote locations where it's hard for them to really get it. But Jaedong spotted it, and he's going to come in here and collapse on it, and it's shut it down very quickly there. Yeah, and in that last attack, Jaedong ended up winning the battle, despite the fact that Light actually picked off the 2 Defilers as they were coming in at the end there. So he could have had even more decisive victory if he'd had more Dark Swarms on those tanks. But still, Jaedong managing to kind of, every battle in this game, Jaedong has like kind of barely pulled out, like almost losing the battle, and then his reinforcements finish it off, you know, kind of a thing. A few more Lings come in at the end and just polish up the remaining troops, and by doing so, he's been able to hold on to his economy and get a real advantage. It looks like Light might have taken a 4th base though at the left side of the map. We haven't really gotten a shot of that, but it looks like there's a splotch of orange next to that base, or brown on the minimap. So Light might be able to start pushing out enough units here, but I mean, Hive Tech Zerg with 4 gases is really hard to beat, no matter how much economy you have.
Yeah, and not only that, Jaedong has been on point with that Scourge play. With that, I think that's the first time right there that Light managed to take out the Scourge before they got a vessel. And that's a trade he'll make all day, every day. A lot of irradiates going down on a couple of these Defilers, and it looks like he might get 3 for the price of 2 there, as it looks like they were sandwiching each other. But that still is going to zone out the Terran from moving forward. I do think the 9 o'clock and the 3 o'clock bases are like island bases, which is why Jaedong hasn't taken the 3 o'clock yet. And I think Light would have just lifted up and, yeah, moved over there. So it works for the Terran player to start it up. But he's not really even mining from it yet. He's still trying to take out the backside of this new base. And it's mostly Marines and Firebats here, which against Ling Lurker with some Defilers is just not going to be enough. More Scourge out, trying to take out what they can from the vessels, get down another vessel. And now it's just Marines right on top of these Lurkers. Again, naked without the Dark Swarm, so Light is going to get the better side of that battle. And Jaedong continuing to be greedy, trying to take the 6 o'clock position, probably thinking about the 12 o'clock too.
Yeah, you're correct, by the way. The 3 and the 9 positions are island bases. So that's, you know, going to make it relatively easy for Light to take and hold that left side base. But here he comes in with some more swarms. Wasn't able to raid. He's lost so many vessels that he's just not able to keep on top of raiding all of the Defilers at this point. Unfortunately for Jaedong, he does kind of get a little past those swarms, and the Lings do die off. He's got a pretty big medic marine ball with some tanks there as well. The tanks obviously are less mobile, but, you know, if he can make use of them against the Lurkers, it allows him to push a little bit more safely. But Jaedong has been so much on the map everywhere that he hasn't really been able to siege up his tanks that much. You know, you can see just there the tank's on A move because Jaedong is just everywhere and not allowing him to make any kind of slow push or defense. And yeah, Jaedong's just been on top of the Scourge. Every time we see an attack go on, he runs in with Scourge and takes out more vessels, just like we're seeing right now. And he's gonna lose even more. Is that last Scourge gonna land? It is down to 2 vessels again, while the Ultralisks are coming down underneath as well. And Light is really, really struggling here. Jaedong has a complete map control. You can see he even has some Nidus canals set up to be able to get around the map. Light is falling behind, but, you know, like we said, he does have a couple extra bases. Looks like he's going to try and expand down to the south as well. So he's macroing up a storm, and Terran armies have a tendency to get obliterated and then just be replaced again very quickly because Marines can be so cheap.
Yeah, but if you look at the upgrade game, I mean, those ultras, I think they're probably just about they're 5.2 now or 2.5, so they're pretty hardy, and I think those Marines are 3.3. But again, as long as we keep seeing some dark swarms, and maybe we'll start seeing some plagues here, as it's really nice to get a ball of Marines with a plague. And oh, we're going to see an eraser at the same time as a attack up top right to try to take out both of these bases' economies. And Jaedong on the other side is dropping on the island base. So the Terran player, Light's going to lose all of those SCVs. There's no way he can save any of those. More Scourge out on the field. Take out the erasers. Oh my goodness, this is some nonstop action, and Light's trying to move back out across the middle all at the same time, but I think Jaedong is about ready for that as well. Light coming in with a drop to try to clean up the Lings at the island base, but a slow drop ship dropping Marines slowly is not a great way to take out Lings that have already been there and had their fun with the SCVs. And at this point, he's just going to town on SCVs all over the place. 3 Lings at the bottom left. Obviously, the Lings at the mid left, and Light's got to be, he's mined out, I think, at the first 2 bases that he started. So he's slowly drowning here from an economic standpoint.
Yeah, and it looks like Jaedong might be going in for the kill here, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of Ultras leading the charge, soaking up damage. Cracklings coming in from the side as well. The 2 tanks are doing their best, but they're going to get overrun and destroyed. And it looks like Jaedong's falling back a little bit just to make sure he cleans up those expansion bases rather than going in on 3 bunkers there. But at this point, he can just kind of, choke out Light at this point by just making sure he can't get anything else. Look at, he's like, oh, you want to drop a few Marines to save that base? I'm going to drop Ultralists, buddy. It was a real master stroke, actually. Light going for the eraser on the 4th, the drop on the 5th at the same time. It was exactly the kind of minimal investment, 2-pronged attack that could do a lot of economic damage, that could get him back into the game. And Jaedong counterattacked and cleaned up both of those attacks by killing the eraser vessels and somehow saving the top right base as well. So I think that was Light's kind of chance to get back into the game, is if that succeeded, and then he was able to make a push out of the middle after that or something like that. But instead, he's trying to, it's kind of cute, erasering the Nidus Canal to make sure you get any units to go out of it.
Doesn't work out for him, though, as the Scourge eventually take him out. And it looks like Jaedong took every base on the right side of the map, including the middle bases at this point. So I think Light is finding himself in a stranglehold. I agree with you on those drops being exactly what he needed, but realistically, he needed them 5, if not 10 minutes sooner to get himself back in the game. It was just a little bit too late. The economy was already pumping, and now Jaedong doesn't even need Dark Swarm to take him out. In fact, he could have all of his Ultras irradiated, and I think he's still going to be able to take out the forces for Light here.
Yes, the forces of Light are about to be defeated, which means something very different if you're watching an anime or something like that. But instead, it's just going to be MBC Game Heroes' chance at clinching the series, GGing, and Jaedong is going to keep his team alive, getting that win, bringing the series to a 3-2 situation. I think I told you it was 3-2 before, but I miscounted. It was actually 3-1 before, and now it's 3-2.
So I'm not crazy. That's good.
No, you're not crazy. I also you also thought I was crazy when I was like making a mistake about the minimap. You're like, all right, I'm just not gonna call him out on the last game. But yeah, so now it's 3-2 in actuality. Sorry about the miscount there. Which means we're gonna go to a 2v2 match next.
Ooh.
When was the last time you casted a 2v2, Rise?
About 13 years ago, I think.
They haven't gotten any easier to keep track of in the meantime, unfortunately.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we're going to watch a 2v2 match next. It's going to be Ever and Bright for Oz versus Jaehoon and July Zerg for NBC Game Hero. And it's going to be up to the 2v2 team Ever and Bright to try and keep their team alive this time, or maybe Jelizer can actually clinch it as part of a team instead. But that's going to be the next game. Want to give a quick shout out to the couple folks watching in the chat. The Optimator says it's a good thing we have 2 casters for a 2v2. That's clever, but it might be even more confusing. But I mentioned the chat just because I am recording this statically to be put on YouTube, but Rise is actually streaming this as well. So if you want to see us both with our cameras, I keep forgetting that I'm on camera on your stream. So I keep picking my nose and flicking boogers at the window. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I keep realizing, oh wait, I'm in an awkward pose right now. I need to remember I'm on camera. But anyway, check out Rise's stream, and if you want, you can go find the VOD. And again, links will be down in the description for that. If you want to go see us casting this and see me looking awkwardly at my screen, forgetting I'm on camera.
You look fantastic. Don't sell yourself short. Just in time for Valentine's Day too, right?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, and obviously, by the way, these games are being recorded a little bit ago. These games are going to go up in series a little bit later. So, Rise is not this time. It's not Rise is not being crazy by saying Valentine's Day when it's already a week past. It's actually just that we recorded these games ahead of time.
Yeah, but that doesn't work well when somebody watches the game 6 months later and they're like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah, I wonder about that sometimes. A lot of times I'm like, "Oh yeah, this weekend this is going on," and then someone watches that. I actually get comments sometimes from games from 10 years ago or whatever. It's kind of weird.
That's awesome.
Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this 2v2 match. It's going to be a little bit wild since there's going to be 4 players and 2 casters to keep track of everything. But we'll see how that goes. It should be fun, though. The 2v2 matches are always fun. Hope y'all enjoyed this one. Thanks very much for watching.